Sorry,
All
Moses,
right,
carry
here we
on.
go. Our guest predictor this week is Ian Robert Smith, who is also from merry old England. He is a
President.
wonderful, wonderful man, big in stature, huge in heart. The president, you say there, Matthew?
He's Mr. President of the UK Seahawks, Mr. President.
He is. And if you look up NFL ambassador in the dictionary, there should be a picture of this guy. He is one of the greatest guys. Wonderful guy. We love Smudge to death.
Good man.
Yes, great man.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
And now it's time for another edition of the 12th Man Fan Jam. With your hosts, the Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you, Magic Voice. This is Moses, and welcome 12s to episode 324, the Vikings playoff edition of the 12th Man Fan Jam show. The show made up of Seahawk fans from around the world, just like you, talking about your Seattle Seahawks. Over the next few moments we share together, we hope that you are entertained as we discuss your Seattle Seahawks as they prepare to take over the Minnesota Vikings in the playoffs. So sit back, relax, grab a desired beverage or scent of your choice, and remember, it's for keepsies now. As is the usual with every show, I am joined by the 12th Man Fan Jam Posse, a ragtag group of diehard fans just like you from around the world. First, my partner in crime, the yin to my yang from merry old England. Please welcome back Matt. Hi, Matt.
Hello, Moses. How are you?
Oh, Matt, we're wonderful. How are you?
Yeah, Happy New Year, everybody. It's my first show this year.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
All right. And there it is. Good night, everybody. All right. Next from
I'm out of practice. I haven't got any good. Well, I've got lots of bad news. I have no good or bad news.
Yeah, we have some. We definitely have some bad news, but we started the show with that a little bit. But we're going to make this a great show and a lot of good news from here on out because we're in the playoffs. So that's the best part of the season. Playoffs. We're talking about playoffs. Next from the state of Washington, our very own news hound. His 12th Man editorials can be found on SeahawkSal.com. You know him as Shadowhawk. We know him as Will. Hi, Will. There's a rim shot for you, buddy.
Thank you.
I call him Will.
Think so. Hi there.
Recorded live. Will, how are you?
I'm doing well, Moses. How are you?
Well, I have a drummer problem, but other than that, I'm doing okay.
You know, they have a cream for that.
Yeah. They just might. Speaking of creams, the cream of the crop from the state of Washington as well. Yes. He is known as Dustin. Hi, Dustin.
Hey. Sounds like, hey, how are you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Glad to be back.
We're glad to have you. Welcome back.
Hey, thanks. Glad to be back.
Yeah, we're glad to have you here. And we also have
Appreciate
someone
that.
sitting in. Whole new show. We're
Shut up,
starting now.
Dustin.
All right. Also subbing in
Hey, it's his
tonight.
birthday. If he wants to talk, he can.
That's right. We'll talk about that in a minute. His special guest seat. We have a special guest seat, and every once in a while we have like guests to come in and sit in on the show and be on the posse. And from the state of Washington as well. He's been on the show a couple times. His name is Tom. Hi, Tom.
Howdy, Moses. Howdy, guys.
Hey,
Hello.
kids. Tom.
Hello. Evening.
There you go. All right. Sorry, Tom. They get a little tired this time of night. I gave them too much NyQuil.
I think it's too much Jim Beam, but you know.
Yeah. Well,
That's
same
Moses.
difference where I live.
Same difference.
Yes. Same difference where I live. Sadly, our man from Hotel California, Mark, is not with us this week, but he is anxiously preparing a welcome party for the Seahawks to visit him in Santa Clara, say around February 7th or so. So, before we start, we do have some shout-outs that we'd like to share, just a couple. This week we're recording. We're happy to announce that since we recorded last week to this week, we've had a couple birthdays in the posse. We had Will, who turned 21. Congratulations, Will.
Thanks. 21 for about the 18th time or so.
Yes, that's your present. And then, of course, Dustin, who turned 18. So, happy birthday, guys.
Thank you.
You guys get anything special for your birthday?
The day off. Nice.
Yay!
Oh, yay!
That's always good.
I got about Starbucks gift card, so I now have $45 in free coffee.
Nice.
It's about
$45
what, about
will
three
get you what
coffees?
about like maybe 2 cups
Three.
or something? Yeah, two and
Yeah,
a half,
latte
3.
and a half.
No, I go
Latte.
for the Americanos. They're relatively cheap.
Those damn cheap Americanos. All right, well, listen, playoffs, right? So let's get going. For those who have listened before, thank you for joining us again. And for those who are listening for the first time, don't worry. We promise we'll be gentle. But be careful. If you stick your tongue out here, it may freeze to us. So the show is run like a real NFL football game, 4 quarters, even a halftime. First quarter will be Will with news around the NFL, and then a 60-second rant by Will. And then the second quarter will be a recap of last week's win for the Seahawks over the Arizona Cardinals, which always comes with a caption that picture. Halftime, no trivia. Sorry. We got Matt back, so we wanted to kind of take a break from the trivia. But we are doing is our nominations for our 3rd annual. I can't believe I'm saying our 3rd annual, our 3rd annual 12-man Fan Jam regular season awards, the Fan Jammies. The nominations, the categories, and how you can help us vote for those will be at halftime of this show. Quarter 3 will be injury stats and lines for the Viking game, as well as some helpful tips if you're going to Minnesota. I have some places in Minnesota that you may want to visit. Quarter 4 is going to start with a brief weather report because that's been kind of a big news story this week about this game. We're going to finish a phrase, and then, of course, our predictions, prognostications, and game balls for that playoff game between the Vikings and your Seattle Seahawks. But before we start, of course, we'd like to remind you, please like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. Contact us on this thread. Comment section of this video or feedback, email us at 12thmanfanjam@gmail.com. Tell us what you think. Join our Facebook group, 12th Man Fan Jam Show. Lots of good discussions and fun. We have a game thread on there during the games. Twitter at Seahawk Positivity. Let us know your thoughts there. Without further ado, let's get to the first quarter and news. Yes, news around the NFL while you were out buying heat packets. Here's our 12th-man Fan Jam news hound Shadowhawk Will with the news, brought to you by our sponsor, the Seattle Seahawks Seat Warmers. Will, what you got for us?
Well, Moses, the Seahawks have not had a home game blacked out since the home opener in 2003. So
Wow.
when the NFL announced last year that they were going to suspend the blackout rule, it really didn't affect the Hawks much. Mm-hmm. But there was a lot of question as to whether the league's long-held contention that removing the blackout rule would hurt attendance would come true or not. Well, the figures are in, and surprise, surprise, the NFL was snowing us all along.
Are you saying the NFL was dishonest?
It's a distinct possibility, but
What?
the Sports Business Journal, NFL teams had an average attendance of 68,400 during the 2015 regular season. Last year, the average was 68,776, which amounts to a whopping drop of 0.5%.
That's huge.
Most of which is due to a nearly 10% reduction in Tennessee, go figure, and an 8% decline in St. Louis, also go figure. So all stadiums were at just under 98% of total capacity. So I don't think we're going to have to worry about the blackout rule again anytime soon.
So the NFL was in it all along.
Say what?
What a shocker.
Total.
I know. Who would have thought?
I would have thought Jacksonville would have brought that average down quite a bit. That's what I would have thought.
Well, they
Yeah,
spent
but-
half the time in London.
Good point. Good point.
And the other half the time in the pool. I mean, they
I
don't
was
watch
just
the
gonna say,
game,
they
but
have
they're
a
in the
pool,
stadium.
so they go to the pool. Who would ever go to a football game? I think I just want to go to a football game and hang out in the pool.
Yeah, totally.
That's just
If I was in
please.
Jacksonville, though, during a game weekend, I'd probably do it.
I would.
Yeah, I would.
It's either that or watch the game. So
Well, when given
Or
the
do that.
choice. That's an expensive pool membership, though. I mean, those tickets have got to be at least, what, $5 or $6 to get in the game?
I was going to
Something
say
like
$5
that.
or $7.
well, maybe 10 for the night game.
Yeah. They love me in Jacksonville. You know that, right?
But they're not as cheap as San Francisco, though, where Judge Ork's giving them away for nothing to people. He's just like, come along. Please, somebody come. Anyone.
And stay for the whole game, please.
Please.
I can't believe the NFL was scamming us all along. I just...
Ugh.
I don't know if I'll sleep
You
tonight.
could knock me over with a feather.
I know.
It's unheard of. Unheard of.
God, Will, please tell me your second story isn't, like there's no Easter Bunny or something.
Well, it's going to be equally surprising. I have an Eagles player who is not griping about Chip Kelly.
That's
Damn.
newsworthy in itself.
It took this long to find one, but yeah, Eagles center Jason Kelsey wasn't exactly sticking up for Chip Kelly, but was kind of surprised to hear teammates complaining about the former coach, especially when it comes to their practices. Lane Johnson, tackle, former first-round pick, complained last week that Kelly's intense practices might have been too much, but Kelsey disagreed. This is like one of the most pampered practice schedules I've been a part of, to tell you the truth, he said. If I'm being honest, I think we have massages. We have all these things put in place. We have smoothies. We have daily questionnaires. How are you feeling today? Well, dude, you're going to go out there and practice. So I think, quite honestly, some of these guys are a little pampered. I don't want to get started on this. It really bugs me.
Wow.
So, oddly enough, Chip Kelly is not the only thing going wrong with Philadelphia these days.
I love that. How are you feeling today?
You want to talk about it?
How did that practice make you feel?
Show me on the because it's show me on
Does
the
someone
doll
need a
where
hug?
we tackled you.
Oh.
Wow.
See, you had a bad day at practice today. You want to talk about that? Well, Coach,
Here, have a smoothie.
I'm sorry, Coach. He hit me really hard. He tackled me, and I thought we were just going to play two-hand touch for practice.
And I spilled my smoothie.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm just surprised that Dwayne Johnson is still playing football. I thought he went back into acting, but
Yeah,
you said Dwayne Johnson, right?
No, Lane Johnson.
Oh, okay. I thought it was The Rock. There are definitely no rocks in Philadelphia. That's
You have the Rock, and then you have the Blockhead, apparently. So.
he's the blockhead. But folks, remember, if you're going to play for the NFL, the Eagles care. So,
Yeah.
God, what a feel good story. Chip Kelly, we heard
Then
all
they
this
get
hatred.
Little hot towels, just before like when you get on a plane, they give you little hot towels that you just gotta wipe yourself down with, and trays.
Peanuts.
Only first class. You fly coach, you're lucky to get a seat anymore.
Nobody flies coach; they just got rid of him.
Everybody's huddled up after practice. It was a good practice. Bob, you looked angry out there. You want to talk about something on your mind?
But
Here, have a smoothie.
But their locker room is good. Like, okay, and miscongeniality for today's game was.
Wow.
No, the
I
Eagles
don't know about those massages either. I don't know
the
what's going on.
feel-good story. Oh, my God. The feel-good story of the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles, because they care.
Bless them. Bless their heart.
Yes. Who else cares, Will? What else we got?
Got an idea what this
Well-
one is.
Well, Moses, there are some weeks where I see a story and my first reaction is, that's going in the podcast. This is one of those weeks.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because it involves a news segment favorite over the years, Johnny Manziel, of course.
Yes.
Oh, I know this one.
Oh, yes.
We all know this one.
Of course, the news broke over the last weekend that Manziel was AWOL from Cleveland on Sunday morning. Missed the meeting with the team medic because he's in concussion protocol and he's supposed to meet with him. And, of course, it turns out he was in Vegas. But to give him credit, he did try to hide that fact.
Mm-hmm.
Because, according to the ESPN radio affiliate in Las Vegas, Manziel was, quote, wearing a blonde wig, a fake mustache, glasses, and a hoodie, and was allegedly introducing himself as Billy.
Oh.
So,
Billy.
and actually, Moses, I believe I sent you a artist's rendering of what he may have looked like. Do you have that?
Yes. Yes. You actually did. And here's the picture. And This is a legendary picture, let me tell you.
Dear.
Oh, man. So, yeah, apparently Manziel was partying in the VIP area of a Vegas club until 3 o'clock. At the end of the night, he asked the club to comp his drinks because he didn't want to put the tab on his credit card. Club turned him down, so he put him on the card, and yeah. So, and you look at Manziel and you just think how stupid, but on the other hand, look at Cleveland. Wouldn't you be doing anything
I'd
possible
want to get drunk as well.
out of that team?
Yeah, being in Cleveland has to be
But
something.
And
I
then,
love
and then to
Sorry,
make
Tom,
it
go on.
worse, he made that picture of him and his dog, and then he put in there in Ohio later.
Right.
Yes.
He's covering his tracks. He's really smart.
Honestly, I mean, I just love the idea that he's like, now what I need to do, firstly, I need to blend in. I'm going to go out for a drink, so I'm going to go to Las Vegas because that's clearly the best place for me to go. And then what I'm going to need to do is blend in when I get there. So I'm going to look like a 70s porno star because that will help me blend in when I'm in Las Vegas. I mean, Jesus.
in
And I
Vegas,
don't
it might
take
actually
cash
be.
out of the ATM.
I just like the idea that he walked in like these clubs and like, hi Johnny, are you right?
Yeah.
Well, we have
No, I'm
Billy.
Billy. I'm Billy.
we have
Reminds-
teased the Johnny Manziel all year, and it's about time he gets his own theme song. So I have found Johnny's theme
boy.
song. So from now on, when Johnny comes on, you will hear something like this.
Honey, why don't we get drunk and screw?
That's pretty much it right there. There's Johnny's theme. I mean, really, Jimmy Buffett did it better than anybody else. Why mess with the master? Why don't we get drunk and screw is now Johnny Manziel's new theme song.
I can't wait until he goes to Dallas next year, and I can do a combined Johnny Manziel, Jerry Jones news segment.
Oh my God,
It's
my
gonna be
head
amazing.
the podcast will explode when it happens.
That whole outfit thing just cracks me up so much. It reminds me of if I know a lot of the people that are going to listen have seen the Mariners commercials up here in Seattle, and they have one of Felix Hernandez. Where they pull
Larry
him from a game.
Bernandez. Yeah.
Larry Bernandez. Yeah. He changes his name and puts a mustache on so he can keep pitching, and then puts like duct tape over his back and puts Bernandez or something instead of Hernandez.
It's like
That's
a really
exactly what
bad
that
SNL
reminds me
skit.
of.
It's just a really bad SNL
Yeah,
skit
exactly.
is what it is. I mean, God, thank you, Johnny
Yeah.
Manziel.
Johnny Manziel, the gift that keeps on giving.
I know. And he keeps
The herpes
giving.
of the NFL.
Oh my God. We had it all. We've had it all. Thank you so much, Will, for the wonderful news segment as always.
Anytime.
That will end, I think, the first quarter.
It's the end of the first quarter, bitches.
Lots of shows still ahead. We're going to get you ready for the Vikings playoff game. Right after Will's 60-second rant, I think.
My
It's the
second
second
fucking
quarter.
rant. So.
We'll look back at last week's thrilling Seahawk victory over the Cardinals. I will go get my mouth fixed. All that coming up next.
And now it's time for a 12th Man Fan Jam 60-second rant.
You know you make me wanna
Rant.
I don't want to get off on a rant here.
Well, folks, it's playoff time again, and you know what that means? All-star officiating crews. Because nothing could improve the state of our wonderful officiating in the NFL even more than taking officials and pairing them up with other officials they haven't worked with all season long. The all-star officiating crew concept for the playoffs has been around for a while, and I just don't see why. You know, as bad as these guys are, pairing them up with new people they haven't worked with cannot possibly make things better. But then it's not supposed to. Because you see, the referees have a union and a collective bargaining agreement. They want to get as many officials into the playoffs as possible. So, of course, you have the all-star crews. But come on. As bad as things are in the NFL these days, why are we making them worse when the games count for the most? Dump the all-star crews, take the best officiating teams, because there are some that are less worse than others, have them work the playoffs. And if officials that don't get to do playoff games don't like it, have them quit or do better next time. Give them some incentives to actually earn a playoff game, not to get one just because their collective bargaining agreement says so. We're Seahawk fans. We all know what happens when we're in a playoff game with horrible officiating. Let's not have this happen again. Dump the All-Star crews for good, please.
You're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
Holy shit, it's the second quarter.
Welcome to the second quarter as we take a look back at the Cardinals game from last week. This second quarter brought to you by our sponsor, the Minnesota Viking dishwashing liquid. Get all of the tough stains except rings around Super Bowls. Yes, try as you might with Minnesota Viking dishwashing liquid. It can't get a Super Bowl ring. Okay, let's talk about last week's game.
Nice. Good.
Tom, our guest, what was your thought on the Seahawks victory over the Cardinals 36-6?
You know, I thought it was going to be a lot closer, and then they just took them to the woodshed. I and then I really did think it was going to be a much closer game.
I think we all did.
Arizona came out flat, and and then afterwards you hear everybody saying, "Oh, well, they didn't have anything to play for," blah blah blah. Well, crap, they didn't.
Yeah, I don't buy that either.
They were down by 30 in the first half, before they knew the outcome of Carolina's game.
Right.
They had a lot to play for.
They had a lot to play for, and I don't think that was the case at all. I agree with you. A lot of people saying, well, they brought in their subs in the second half. Second half score, folks, is 6-0 Seattle. That had nothing to do with it. It was 30-6 at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I think they were trying to do things. Now, after the second quarter, I can say you threw in the towel at that point. You said, you know what, let's save ourselves. Nothing's going to change at this point. Let's go ahead and put our subs in and get some rest. I understand that. But no, it was, they were definitely wanting to make if nothing more, a psychological lesson that if they beat us, they swept us this year. They're the new sheriff in town. They're the ones in charge of the division. And don't you forget it, Seattle. Where Seattle was able to tell them, this crown on your head, don't get too comfortable with it. And that's a big thing.
And they barely, it was a close game here.
Yeah. Right.
And we went down there and just took the lunch money.
And a close game with Russell Wilson's one of his worst performances of the year. I mean, really, if you think about it, with all the fumbling and just was terrible at home.
Yeah.
That's where he kind of turned around. Matthew, what are your thoughts on this victory?
I didn't really, to be honest, the whole game was a bit of a blur for me because all I kept thinking about was the fact of how much NFL referee Brad Allen looks like Scott McCreery from American Idol. And every time, no, it's true.
It's true.
Every
it's true.
time he turned it, and put two pictures up. I'm not kidding. Show the people. Every time he turned his microphone on to say give a ruling, I was expecting Steve Tyler from Aerosmith to critique his performance. I mean, it was lucky to make it through the boot camp, to be honest. But it was a great game, apart from the fact that I sort of thought that I couldn't understand why Russell Wilson was in quite so long after Palmer came out. I didn't really understand what any of those players before. MVP is not going to come his way this year. It's just not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And that's a dead duck as far as I'm concerned. He just needed to sit out because I was always worried about him getting injured at that point. Carson Palmer looked out of sorts, and that's not. And don't be Bruce Arians. We planned it this way. We had nothing to play for. Crap. He was on the field at the beginning, so your star quarterback went out there and laid an egg, is what he did, and he looked.
Yes, he did.
He looked awful. So, but then what happened with the kickers? What is it with the kick? What is it with kicking the football suddenly? Is that suddenly far more difficult than it used to be, or something? I don't know.
I tell you what, Warren Moon had a great line about that. He was saying how he thinks the air conditioner was turned on too high. You need to turn it down because the wind's affecting the kickers.
That was weird. That was really strange.
Buffalo Wild Wings guy was at it again.
There it is.
Yeah. But I thought it was a good performance on all phases against, the winner of the NFC West. Let's not take that away from them. They are the winners of the NFC West.
Yes, they are.
And they looked like Well, they look like the 49ers, is what they look like.
Wow.
No need
That's
to be
an
cruel,
insult.
Matt.
Will, that's insulting. What were some highlights, Will, that you saw from this game?
Well, it was great to see, just what Tyler Lockett can do. I mean, he got that long catch on those third and forever, and kept that drive going. Got us. I think that was our second touchdown. I'm not sure. But then just the punt returns, one after another, setting us up with. You get the ball, you start the ball on the other team's 15-yard line, you're going to score a lot of points. I mean, it's amazing that we were able to put up 13 and should have been 33 points in the first half, and Wilson threw for under 200 yards in that game.
Yes.
And Kristen Michael, he got 100 yards, but in the first half he had probably about 75, so we weren't exactly lighting it up on the stat sheet, but we were lighting it up where it counts on the scoreboard.
Yeah, 354 total yards, which is not huge, but yeah. I mean, absolutely. It was funny that third, as the punt returns, it just looked like, they're showing, here, in case you missed it, here's the punt return from the last time. Because it's just like, here he goes again. And the third one, I just started laughing. I just started laughing. And I remember thinking at the beginning of the year, we were so excited about Tyler Lockett. First off, the kid, to me, he's never looked like a rookie at all, ever.
No.
But, to me, we were all excited because, wow, well, we, between the two, our defense is how we win games. So having this punt returner is really going to help us. And then our offense explodes. And he explodes at the same time. And all of a sudden, it's like having your cake and ice cream at the same time. It's pretty nice.
What I didn't understand about it, Moses, though, is that if I was the coach on the opposing team, doing it once and having that run against you, fair enough. Doing it twice is careless. Third time, fourth time, kick it on the ground. Put it anywhere where he can't do what you're doing.
Exactly.
I don't understand why they didn't. I mean, I'm glad they didn't adjust, don't get me wrong, but I don't understand why there was no adjustment made.
I agree.
mean, again, it's crap. It's rubbish. It's rubbish coaching.
And we've seen that because I remember when we played the Bears the one time with Devin Hester.
Yeah.
Late in the game, and it's like, why are you kicking it to him? Well, too late,
Yeah, too late, silly boy.
And I guess that one time that they did kick it to him, I think Ryan was the kicker, and he actually was trying to kick it away, and the wind blew it right to Hester.
Yep.
And then he said, I was trying to throw it away, and the wind took it right to him. So
they had their air conditioner up too high too.
Yeah, well, a Chicago air conditioner can get mighty brisk. Yeah. So, Dustin, your thoughts about this game? I mean,
I was just happy to see him come out and play like that, given how the previous or the week prior went. Just they didn't let that phase them whatsoever. They came out firing on all cylinders. I was a little surprised Carson Palmer was challenging Richard Sherman so much. He kept trying to throw the ball over the top to guys on him, and Sherman batted a couple down, and they couldn't get it going. I tell you what, the one play that sticks out to me the most on this, it was it was a nice play, big play. No, it didn't result in a score or anything, but Christian Michael got the ball, and he takes off running, right? He's up, he's up on the right side of the field, and he has a couple guys chasing him, a safety coming over, and all he had to do was kind of cut outside, and he's fast enough to where he could have taken off, but he is so worried about fumbling the ball.
Yeah.
He could cover it up with two hands and kind of punched over it, and then he got tackled. I was like, you know what? I'm cool with it.
I am too.
Protect the ball, man.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Hey, Christy Michael, what a great story. I mean, cut from the team, he was inactive almost all of last year, which we talked about on the show saying, well, he's inactive. Maybe he's just not getting it, And apparently he wasn't, because then, of course, cut from the squad, goes down to Dallas, gets cut there, and just can't find a home and has a chance here because of our injuries to have a second chance, and is really making the most of it. Hats off to him for sure.
No, totally hats off to him. And I've got to eat, I'm happy to eat humble pie because I'm hungry because it's like 3 a.m. But I'm happy to eat humble pie because I sat here and said that I was concerned about him ever having the ball and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what, man? He proved me totally wrong. I'm totally happy to eat all the crow on that one.
Oh, I was exactly the same way. I think we signed him. I forget after what game it was, but I know the running backs had fumbled the week prior, and I saw that we're bringing him in, and I was telling my buddies.
It was for the Cleveland game.
Yeah, I was telling the guys at work. I was like, I don't know why they brought him back. I was like, maybe they weren't satisfied with the amount of fumbles they had last week. They wanted more, so they brought this guy in. I was like, I don't get it. but he's really, really taking to it, and it's impressive.
He
Really
has.
happy for the guy because he's making me happy for my team. So
Yeah, it's going to make next year interesting with Rawls healthy and everybody, how that's all going to shake out with Jackson and if there's room for Christian Michael or how that's going to how he's performing now may affect the running backs next year, but that's next year's story. I'm sure we'll talk about that in the spring.
yeah. One other thing that was great about it though is it seems like this offense at this point with the way Russell Wilson is playing, it's almost plug and play with the other players. You throw in kind of any running back up there right now, they're effective. Our touchdowns, the first three were to Tukuafu, threw one. We had Chase,
big man
Bryce,
with football.
Bryce Brown ran one in, and then Chase
Yeah.
Kaufman.
Chase Kaufman, yeah. I didn't know who Chase Kaufman was. I saw
A lot
caught
of
the
people
ball, he scored a
didn't now.
I know. He scored a touchdown. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, it's Chase Kaufman or whatever. And I looked at my wife. I was like, who the hell is Chase Kaufman? And she's like, you don't know him. I don't know him.
I do think it's funny though that Kaufman not only caught Wilson's record-breaking touchdown pass, but caught the pass that got Wilson over 4,000 yards for the year. So
yeah, that's a really good point too. It was a record-breaking day for the Seahawks with
Yes.
Baldwin's reception records and Russell's
Yep.
passing records.
Yes.
Yeah, it was awesome.
First man in NFL history, 500 yards rushing, 4,000 yards passing, 30 touchdowns passing. That's just unheard of. And had we talked about this last week. Had the Panthers not gone 15-1, had the Cardinals not gone 13-3. Had we gone better than 10-6, I think definitely you could make a case for number 3 being MVP.
Yeah,
he still would have gotten
Okay.
shafted, but
Well,
we
yeah,
could make
probably.
a better case.
Yeah, but we can
Yeah.
understand it now.
He's in the discussion, but he's
Yes.
like Matt was saying earlier, he's not going to win it.
Oh no.
It's kind of it's a nice little nod to him. Good job, buddy.
But that's okay. They
reward
can
it.
they can have the MVP. We'll take the bigger trophy. Speaking of that, let's go ahead and let's put this game to bed because we've got a lot of playoff football to talk about. We want to get to that. But before we do, like we always do, to wrap up our discussion of the week before, we want to do a Caption That Picture. Yes, Caption That Picture. We take a picture from the game before, and we add our own caption to it. This picture is very interesting. It's a rather animate Bruce Arians with a fair amount of striped shirts around him. So let's start with the guest, Tom. Do you have a picture? Caption?
I have a caption, but I don't have a picture.
You have a picture, but do you have a caption?
Do you have a picture of your caption?
Hey, Tom, caption that picture.
That'd be better. Yeah, Zarian's going, yeah, it's those guys over there. They took our lunch money.
And I'm telling. Dustin, caption that picture.
It's very similar. I said, do something. Those guys are picking on my team.
Will, capture that picture.
Get off my lawn!
It looks like it. Damn kids. With your Seahawks and your trophies and your championships. Matt, caption that picture.
Go West, football's better there. Go West.
Oh dear.
Let's do a singy one.
Oh boy.
He's all about American
everybody's-
Idol tonight.
Yeah, you were talking about American Idol earlier. I have two, of course. The first one is, of course, first one says, look, they're scoring again. Can't you guys do something about this? And then finally, well, what are we paying you losers for?
Nice.
Nice.
And now it's time for a 2-minute warning.
Holy shit, it's a 2-minute warning.
Yes, this 2-minute warning of the second quarter. Let's take a look back at our predictions from this Cardinals game. Let's recap real quick. We are keeping score. Game balls winners get 3 points. Prognostications get 3 points. If none, the closest gets a point. Predictions, both scores on the button 5. One team's point total 3. And if none, the closest gets a point. All right. Well, nobody had the score, and nobody had any of the scores there. 36-6, kind of unusual. Dustin had the widest margin of victory. He also had the smallest number of points for the Cardinals, so I gave it to Dustin. Congratulations, Dustin.
Woo!
Prognostications. Will got it. No sacks from Glowinski. There were no sacks at all, I believe.
No, Brady got one, but
one Glowinski's fault. Dustin, Christian Michael, 100 yards rushing. Well done. He had 103. And our guest did say 3 touchdowns for Russell, so we'll give him that. Game balls, I had to give it to Wilson. Chosen between Wilson, McRae, and Curse. Has to go to Wilson. 4 people got that. Week 16 scores. Will 6, Dustin 4, guests Mark and Matt with 3, which brings us to our overall scores of Will 46, Dustin 39, guest 36, me 32, Mark 31, and Matt 19. Okay. And now it's halftime.
Matt's moving on up.
What,
I
Matt?
get first pick in the draft. So
Congratulations.
And he always has trivia to fall back on. So.
I'm sucking for luck. All right.
Okay. Good time to take a break.
Let's move on from there.
Good night. See you next week.
Yeah. All right. Whole new show at halftime.
Holy shit, it's halftime.
It is halftime. And it's time to reveal the nominations for the 3rd annual 12th Man Fan Jam End of the Regular Season Awards, the Fan Jammies. And we're going to do that right after this.
Hey, this is Matt, all the way from merry old England, and you're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam.
Yes, welcome to halftime of episode 324. And this week we are taking a break from Matt dominating the trivia with a look at the 3rd annual 12th Man Fan Jam End of the Regular Season Awards. Or the Fan Jammies, if you like. And here's how this works. We'll present the awards and their nominations to you here and on our 12 Man Fan Jam Show Facebook page. Please note for your favorites in each category by February 7th, 2016, the awards show will be after that date on a very special awards edition of your 12 Man Fan Jam Show. And as we get close to that date, we will share more info as it develops.
Do I have to wear a
Big
tux
finish.
again this year?
Wow, I had really good timing there. Okay, here we go. Here are your categories this year, and they very rarely change, but they do every once in a while because, well, I'll explain later. Your categories are Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Score of the Year, and Game of the Year. Now remember, these are for the regular season only. So please, don't, if someone gets 6 interceptions against the Vikings, that does not count. So, plus some other maybe possible surprise awards that I will not be sharing at this point. Okay. The Offensive Player of the Year nominations, there are 4, and if you feel there's somebody that I've missed or that we've missed, you can certainly write in anybody or anything that you want, as long as it makes sense. Offensive Player of the Year, the nominations are Doug Baldwin, Jermaine Kearse, Thomas Rawls, and Russell Wilson. Matt, is there any reason that we don't vote for the quarterback here?
Ooh. Yeah, that's a good question. But I think no.
It's hard, isn't it? Because Baldwin broke records. Thomas Rawls was exciting. It depends, I guess, on what you're thinking.
Again,
right?
the thing is, though, is that Baldwin's records are dependent upon the fact that he had perfect thrown balls and throws, and they didn't come, by accident. They came from Russell Wilson. So Doug Baldwin's records are dependent upon Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's records are dependent upon Russell Wilson. So I can't sit here and argue anything. I suppose you said Thomas Rawls was in there, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
I think there's an argument to be made here. The bloke has just turned into a mini beast. Looks nothing like a rookie either. Very, very unfortunate that he had his injury, because if he didn't have his injury, he would still be running now in some of those games, to be fair.
Yes.
What's 830 yards or something on the season? I don't know, whatever it is.
Something spectacular. He was closing in on Gurley, and then he got hurt. I mean, he probably would have surpassed Gurley, I think.
I'm sure I read somewhere this morning it was 830 yards or something, but it's a whopping number for that kid. But then you've got Doug Baldwin with 1,069 yards, and it's just so. But it's Russell Wilson for me, and the reason I think it's Russell Wilson is because look at what happens when you lose your key weapons. And I say key weapons, and I think that's unfair, but looking at what's around him now, even. But when you lose people like Jimmy Graham, when you lose Marshawn Lynch, Russell Wilson suddenly becomes a pocket quarterback of elite status, and well, not that he always was, and breaks records. So for me, I'm going to say Russell Wilson.
Yeah. Anybody else want to make an argument for somebody that we talked about, Baldwin or even Kurz or Rawls? I think Kurz was extremely underrated this year in the shadow of Baldwin and Rawls and Wilson and what was going on. But I thought Kurz had a spectacular year. But the receivers all did as a group.
I don't think you can discount Doug Baldwin in this one. Yeah, Russell throws him the ball, but if he wasn't able to get open and make those catches, Russell wouldn't have those numbers he had.
I think you could also argue that we maybe expected more of this kind of year from a Russell Wilson than we did from a Doug Baldwin. Could you say that?
Yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, he's a great route runner. Everybody's known that. He's got sure hands. Everybody knows that. But we haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver since, what was it, Joey Galloway, I think it was? Or,
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, a long time. It's been a long time. And breaking the record for most touchdowns in the season, you don't do that if the quarterback is the sole guy in that regard. You know what I mean? He's getting behind guys. He's breaking tackles when he gets the ball. The Steelers game, the game-winning touchdown. Yeah. Russell gets him the ball. He breaks about, I think it was 2 tackles after he caught the ball. It went 80 yards for a touchdown. That looks good for Russell because he threw a touchdown. Looks good for Russell because that's 80 yards. Doug Baldwin made that play happen. He's the guy that did that. Yeah, and I don't think he can be discounted in this whatsoever. Yeah. And not to mention he helps in the run game. Yeah. That's part of the deal too.
I think that's a great point. Well, Dustin, we'll stay with you here. Let's go Defensive Player of the Year. Michael Bennett, Cliff Averill, KJ Wright, Earl Thomas. You could have thrown Wagner in there. You could have thrown Cam Chancellor in there. Dustin, who do you think was the best Defensive Player of the Year? You could have thrown Sherman in there. There's just so many defensive guys. I mean, Kerry Williams, you could have thrown now. You could just,
I think Kerry Williams had the
Williams. Kerry Williams.
Kerry Williams had the biggest impact on the defense, I think. After he left, they got good.
Not positive one, but.
Yeah. I think you got to go Michael Bennett in this case. He kind of did the Michael Bennett thing early in the year where he was jumping off sides. He only did that for the first couple games, and I don't think he's jumped off sides since. He's been consistent in getting the pressure on the quarterback. I think he helps make that defensive line better because people have to focus on him, which frees other guys up to do their thing. And I don't know that there's a better player on the defense this year than Bennett. So
but Richard Sherman very quietly had a spectacular season, and I was watching some talking heads on TV saying, well, who can stop Antonio Brown? And I'm like, 6 catches, 50 yards. I think that's slowing him down a little bit. Yeah. So, I mean, Richard had an amazing, especially going from side to side, now going with their number one receiver and just showing he is a shutdown. Well, we all already knew he's one of the best in the game, if not the best in the game. Tom, Rookie of the Year we didn't have before, but we just have really some outstanding rookies.
Jeez.
Thomas Rawls, Tyler Lockett, or Frank Clark all are contributing to this team right now. None of them look like rookies. It's a tough call, Tom. What do you think?
If Rawls didn't get hurt, I would have gone with Rawls. Mm-hmm. But I would have to hands down Tyler Lockett.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, just with his return game and that's what they drafted him as a return guy. Mm-hmm. And then what he did, when I saw him in training camp, his route running ability and watch what he's done, just as a receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He's taken the top off of defenses.
Isn't he? If I'm not mistaken, wasn't he a 3-time All-American as a punt returner at K-State?
Yeah, he broke all of his dad's records at K-State.
And K-State's not a small school, so he's used to punt returning under big games.
Yeah. And he broke all his dad's records at K-State. I think his uncle was a football player. He's broke. He's that deep threat we needed.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
He doesn't run routes like a rookie. He doesn't act like a rookie. I mean,
no.
You get him in front of that media, he doesn't freeze up like you see a lot of rookies do. He's very mature for his age.
Oh, I think all 3 of these guys.
My favorite play his this year was actually in the Cards game, and it was a play that he didn't catch the ball, didn't do anything spectacular, but it just showed what kind of player he is and how much potential the kid has. And that was when he blew Peterson just out the door. I mean, he took off from the line of scrimmage, made him miss the jam, blew right by him. Russell Wilson ended up overthrowing Tyler Lockett for the touchdown. But doing that against AP or
Yep.
against Peterson, that's incredible. That guy's one of the best in the league, and he made him look stupid. And so, you know what?
Broke
That
his
kid,
ankles.
he's special.
I totally agree. Will, we go to score of the year. I only have 3. I know I'm missing some other ones, but Lockett's punt return. 2 of these are in losses, but Lockett's punt return against the Rams, his first punt return of the year, touchdown. I mean, that's pretty amazing. And Rawls was an 87-yard touchdown run against the Bengals, was pretty spectacular, even though those were losses. And of course, Baldwin's game winner against the Steelers. Am I missing one, Will, that you'd like to see on there, or anybody? And Will, who would you vote for in that case?
I put Lockett's 103-yarder back against Chicago.
Yeah, okay.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Those are good ones. I would have to give it to the Baldwin touchdown, just because if he doesn't make that catch, we punt it right back to Pittsburgh, and in all likelihood lose that game.
Or he's in jeopardy.
Whereas he not only gets the catch, takes it 80 yards in the time we really needed to score.
Yes.
And gets us the win in what I still think is the most important win we've had so far this year.
Yeah.
Because it's not only our first victory over a winning team this season, but it's the first time, ever, in the last several years, that we've really gotten into a shootout like that with another team and come out on top.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
The significance of that game was huge.
Yeah.
I think it has to be that Baldwin touchdown.
Well, and since we're on that topic, let's go ahead and do our final topic, which is the game of the year. Seahawks over Bears, 26-0. Seahawks over Steelers, 39-30. Seahawks over Vikings, 38-7. Seahawks over Cardinals, 36-6. I think the Vikings game was significant because the Vikings were trying to figure out how good they are. They were on a roll. I think they were 8-3 at the time. And, to go there and knock them out the way we did, I thought was important. But I agree with you. The Steelers game was an awful big one at home at a time when we needed a win.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Steelers was the big one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was...
Because we've never given up that many points and come out on top.
Yeah, right. Good point.
Total climb back. But also for me, there was just some grudge that needed to be... I just needed to win it. I just needed to beat them, to be frankly honest. It was a complete grudge for me.
Yeah.
I just needed to see them lose.
And from a purely objective standpoint, I mean, if I didn't care about either of those two teams, that still would have been a fun game to watch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think that was probably the most significant game for us this year, but I think that the Seahawks' best game was against Arizona this last week because they were doing it.
Most complete game. Yeah.
Offense, defense, they were on it. Special teams was on it.
Agreed.
I think that was overall as a team the best performance.
Yeah.
And it was a blowout, and Carson Palmer didn't play the second half, but that's because we put him out of the game. They're like, what?
Absolutely.
We can't win this. We need to protect him for the playoffs. Let's just pull Carson. The
Absolutely.
Seahawks did that to him because of how well they were playing.
Absolutely. So those are the ones that you can vote on, that we're going to vote on. We're going to put those probably in the next couple days up on the Fan Jam, 12th Man Fan Jam Show Facebook page. In the meantime, if you want to vote, here's how you do that. If you can comment on this thread, that'd be great. If you want to comment on the video thread here at YouTube channel, that'd be fantastic. The Facebook page, like I said, 12th Man Fan Jam Show, we'll have these up. I'll try to stick them at the top of the page so you can just hit a like by the one you like. You can Twitter them, Seahawk Positivity. You can email them at 12manfanjam@gmail.com. We got quite a few votes last year, so we're hoping to get some more votes. Remember, by the 7th of February, which is the day of Super Bowl 50, and then after the Super Bowl sometime, and we'll get more details later on when that's going to happen, we will have our 3rd annual Fan Jammies. So, gentlemen, that takes us to the end of the half. And what a fun half it was. Coming up, we're going to talk about the Vikings the entire second half and see who's going to win between the Seattle Seahawks and the Minnesota Vikings in the wild card matchup on Sunday. And we'll come back with all that information for you right after this.
You're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
The Minnesota Vikings, and you know that we're a joke. The Minnesota Vikings, and you know we're gonna choke. The Minnesota Vikings, and you know that we're a joke. Yeah, we ain't never gonna be no good.
Holy shit, it's the third quarter.
Welcome to the second half of episode 324 of your 12th Man Fan Jam show. We take a lot closer look at the Seahawk opponent for Sunday, which happens to be the Minnesota Vikings. This quarter we talk about injury stats and lines for that game. And here's the tail of the tape as you see it when Seattle has the ball and when Minnesota has the ball. Dustin, what stands out on that list for you? Anything look favorable for Seattle in particular?
Favorable?
Looking favorable?
Yeah, I think it looks favorable.
I think it looks favorable on both sides. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
You know, I bring this up because I have been trying all week to hide my excitement about this game. And then when the temperature thing, which we'll talk about fourth quarter, I thought finally there's something I can be worried about. But man, when I look at this, I'm just, talk me out of being optimistic here.
Well, they do have Adrian Peterson, and it is a game where you got to figure the running game is going to feature prominently.
Yeah.
So you can't overlook Peterson. I mean, we held him in check in the first game. There's no guarantee we're going to do it again. And if they can get Peterson going, they have a chance. But I'm feeling fairly confident about this too, because I think we can bottle up Peterson enough to the point where Minnesota would need Teddy Bridgewater to beat us. And you look at his stats last week against Green Bay, and yeah, he won, but the numbers there weren't all that impressive. So I don't think he can take this game over and win it for his team. I think it's got to be Peterson.
Exactly. Peterson is. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that their main focus is going to have to be Adrian Peterson with that offense. Bridgewater, I don't think he's that great of a quarterback in the first place. And it's his first playoff game. I'm not, and the weather is going to be a factor. I'm not even worried about that guy. And a running back, if you have to shut down a running back or shut down a quarterback, it's a lot easier to shut down a good running back than to shut down a good quarterback.
Agreed.
You just have to play discipline, maintain your gaps, do your job. Don't worry about helping somebody out. And it's easy to do. They proved it the last time they played them. It can be done.
Yeah.
I think the thing here though is how much is how we play. It's whether we play poorly or not, rather than whether they play well. I think they have to play their A game. They cannot bring any other game to this particular football game. They can't.
Agreed.
If we bring our St. Louis Rams game, if we bring our inability to stop the run, if we bring our inability to cover properly, our inability to tackle, our ability to throw penalty flags all over the place every time we touch the ball, then we have a problem. So it's not. I don't think it's about how well they play this game at all. To be honest, I think they need to bring their top game. We need to bring our top game.
Exactly.
I don't think the Vikings can beat us. I think we can beat us.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I don't think Minnesota can.
Agree. I have a really good friend, a Viking fan, and his first reaction, he texted me Monday morning, and his text was, "Bummer, do not want to see y'all." And I think that's pretty much says it all. He's very pessimistic about this game. A lot of Viking fans are. Matt, what kind of injuries are we looking at for this game? We finally got pretty healthy, didn't we?
We did pretty healthy. We have lost one notable. That's Luke Wilson, who is out with concussion. Although he had limited practice on Wednesday, he just did not practice after that Thursday or Friday and out. But everyone else is probable, apart from Marshawn Lynch, who is questionable. But I'm pretty sure he'll be there. So we are in reasonably good shape.
And they're pretty good shape too. I think Joseph, is he? Does anybody know Joseph's status?
Joseph and Peterson were both listed as probable.
Yeah. Peterson hasn't practiced all week, I believe.
And remember last time we played, then Anthony Barr didn't play. Harrison Smith got hurt. He didn't play. Those guys are studs on their defense. And then Linville Joseph didn't play. And this week, this time they're all expected to play. So slightly different looking defense.
Yeah. It's a slightly different game.
We'll just knock them all out again.
There you go.
Sounds good.
It's a little different, Dustin, but I think the point spread's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, point spread for this game. Seahawks are favored to win this game by 5.5 points, which I think that's not very generous, to be honest with you.
Well, but you think 3 points for the home team, right?
Yeah, that's true. They automatically get 3, so really it's kind of an 8.5 point thing. But I think we're going to win by more than a touchdown. I think we're going to handle them pretty easily.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
And then
What's the over-under? Has the weather affected the over-under, you think?
it's 39.5.
Yeah, 2019.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think Seahawks are going to win by more than a touchdown, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring either at the same time. I think 39.5, given the weather, is kind of high, to be honest with you.
Tom, does that sound pretty good to you? Winning by about 6 points and maybe a score like 2019 or I guess 25-19 or something like that? Tom has left the building. Will, what are your thoughts?
Hello?
Oh, Tom, hi.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. What are your thoughts on the over-under at, 39 and then 5.5 point favorites for Seattle?
I honestly expect a repeat of last game. I think the kicking game is going to suffer more than Wilson's ability to throw or our receiver's ability to catch. Because they're going to be kicking a brick.
Yeah, right. That's a good point.
It's going to be I think it's going to be affecting everybody in that regard.
Probably.
Because it's hard to throw a brick, it's hard to catch a brick, and it hurts to kick a brick.
Well, I think it's going to affect everybody.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of
long
scoring.
as the ball doesn't get wet or snows, they're saying, it's not going to be that difficult as long as you're not, putting a lot behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will, what are your thoughts on the over/under being 39 and 5.5 point favorites?
I think that's a fair. I think that's a fair setup. I think, again, like you said, the Vikings start out as 3-point favorites, so it's really they're thinking we're going to win by 8.5, which I think seems fair. And
yeah,
the over/under that's one of the lower over/unders I've seen on one of our.
Weather definitely is a factor in that. There's no way.
Yeah,
it's not.
weather, and then the fact that Minnesota's got its defensive players back, which it did the first time. So I think we're going to see a bit more of a slugfest.
Oh, probably. And lastly, of course, Matt, your thoughts on the over/under?
Oh, sorry, I was just booking a massage with the Philadelphia Eagles. What was that?
No, it's okay. We'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Before we move on, we do want to have a disclaimer. The 12th Man Fan Jam Show does not endorse betting on anything at any time. These numbers have been presented for entertainment purposes only. Please don't take anything like this or anything we say on this show ever seriously. Ever. Now, before we end the third quarter, I would thought as a public service, I know a lot of 12s are planning on going out to Minnesota. They might be listening to this show Saturday in Minnesota and Hotel Board. We won't go to that. I'd like to share some interesting places that you may want to visit if you just happen to be a lucky enough person to travel to the state of Minnesota for this game. If you have a little time to kill before or after the game, here are some cheap, off-the-main tourist trap path bargains of places you should consider visiting when in Minnesota. So, when in Minnesota, you should visit the 10,000 Lakes Mosquito Bite / Malaria Center. You know they've got that problem. You should visit the Minnesota Vikings Museum of Falling Just Short of Your Goals.
Lots to see there.
4 times. And Dustin, you'll like this one. In Minnesota, you should visit the My Name is Prince shoe store because they only sell platform shoes, and you must be this short to enter. So,
I knew there was a short joke.
You knew it was coming. His name is Prince, and he is funky. He is also not very tall. You should also visit the Judy Garland house made of empty pill bottles. That's
Ouch.
Okay,
There's
yeah,
no
it's my
place like
fault
home.
she took the pills, people, right?
Ouch.
When in Minnesota, you should visit the Minnesota Fats House of Billiards and Cholesterol. I know there's nothing better than a good old buttery egg and shooting pool. And finally, when in Minnesota, be sure to visit the Walter Mondale Hall of Forgotten Vice Presidents. Okay, let's get ready for the fourth quarter.
It's the end of the third quarter, bitches.
Coming up next, the start of the fourth quarter, a special weather report, then predictions, prognostications, and game balls for the upcoming game between your Seattle Seahawks and those Minnesota Vikings. Right after this quick station identification, you're listening and watching a 12th Man Fan Jam because why not? We'll be right back.
You're listening to the 12th Man Fan Jam on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. And now it's time for the fourth quarter of the 12th Man Fan Jam. Here to lead us through the final quarter is once again our host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, welcome to the fourth quarter of episode 324 of the 12th Man Fan Jam Show. It is time for our predictions or prognostication of game ball for the playoff game between your Seahawks and the Vikings. But first, let's take a look at the weather forecast for Sunday's game. Yes, the weather from our AccuWeather Super Doppler 7000 Storm Tracker weather station right here in Seahawk Positivity Production Studios. There is a cold and crappy front coming into Minnesota, and it will apparently clash with a freezing my nuts off cold front from the south, creating Arctic conditions to make a polar bear shiver with an expected high of just 3 and a low of -3. So get excited about that. That being said, it's going to be cold at this game, folks. That's right. Ice, ice, baby. It's going to be really cold. In fact, it's going to be so cold that it's time to finish a few phrases.
Come on, baby, finish what you started. I'm incomplete. That ain't no way to treat the broken-hearted. Come on and finish that.
Yes, finish a phrase. We haven't done this in a while. Let's finish this phrase, guys. The phrase we're going to work on in this edition of Finish the Phrase, which we haven't had all year, I don't think, is it's going to be so cold at the playoff game in Minnesota this Sunday, or it's going to be so cold at the Minnesota game this Sunday. All right.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
You just nail the accents every time, dude.
Every time. It's amazing accents, isn't it?
That was my Italian accent. It's going to be cold at that place right there.
It's cold.
It's going to be cold. You're going to have it. Frozen pasta. We don't know what to do with.
Mamma mia.
That's a cold and spicy meatball. All right.
It's me, Mario.
Hey.
Mario Kart. Whee!
Hey, Matt.
Yes.
Hey, Matt, it's going to be so cold at the playoff game in Minnesota this Sunday.
The field will be harder than Ben Roethlisberger locked in a nightclub toilet with a drunk underage teen in Georgia.
God.
Yes!
Talking about dark.
Thank you.
Ouch.
Thank you. New show.
That's what
next
she
week.
said.
All right.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
Will.
I got another one.
Oh,
if
you
you
got
don't
another
have
one.
that I've got another one.
Wait. It's going to be so cold at the playoff game in Minnesota this Sunday.
Johnny Football is going to be wearing a blonde wig, moustache, and Joe Namath Super Bowl 48 fur coat when watching from the stands.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Beautiful. My favorite part of Super Bowl 48 mic'd up is when Phil Simms says, I ask him what he's going to wear, and he says all black, and I do, and look what he comes out in. I was awesome. That whole coin flip was hysterical. That was best.
Yeah, it was.
I don't have the best. Will, what do you got? Will, it's going to be so cold at the playoff game in Minnesota this Sunday.
People are actually going to be grateful for all the hot air Skip Bayless will be spewing.
Nice.
Very nice. Very nice. Dustin, it's going to be so cold at the playoff game in Minnesota this Sunday.
The George Costanza won't have to worry about explaining the shrinkage.
Oh my God! There's a reference for you.
Oh dear.
Shrinkage. I just got out of the water. Oh man. Okay, Tom. It's gonna be so cold at the playoff game in Minnesota this Sunday.
Even the cheerleaders are farting snowflakes.
Oh, that's adorable. Wow. That's adorable. I have just a couple. All right. It's going to be so cold at the playoff game in Minnesota this Sunday, the national anthem will be replaced by Ice Ice Baby. All right.
Nice.
So cold at the playoff game in Minnesota this Sunday, the halftime show will be a glacier scraping across the field. So cold at the playoff game in Minnesota this Sunday, the vendors will be walking down the aisle selling coffee on a stick. And finally,
Yikes.
it's going to be so cold at a playoff game in Minnesota this Sunday, the line judges are getting replaced with penguins. Good night.
And they'll probably do a better job.
And probably do a better job. All right.
Those are all-star penguins.
Look for the all-star penguin as a line judge. Oh, my God. All right. Let's go to our predictions now. Of course, we're keeping track. There's how we keep track. There's your overall scores. Our guest predictor this week is our guest, Tom. Tom, you are our guest predictor this week. I didn't see that coming. Huh? Didn't see that coming, did you, Tom?
No, not at all.
Tom, I am so glad you were here tonight. It has been an absolute blast, my friend.
Thank you. It's been a lot of fun.
Yes. Look forward to the next time. What you got for us on a prediction?
Like I said, I don't think there's gonna be much change from last time. I'm gonna go 28-6 Seattle.
All right. And who is your game ball?
Game ball, I'm gonna go with Lynch.
All right. And what is your prognostication?
I'm gonna go Lynch over 100 with 2 touchdowns.
Nice. How great would that be? Talk about welcome back. Mark is not with us for this show, but he is still around. I want to clarify that. Because every time I say someone's not with us, it sounds like he's with us. He's just not with us. Mark sent in his picks. Mark, 24-13. Seahawks, Peterson, less than 60 yards, and he has Lockett as his game ball. Will.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing? It's good to hear from you again, sir.
Likewise, I'm doing well.
I'm glad. How's the cat, by the way?
Oh, she's fine. She is around here somewhere. I don't hear any loud crashing noises, so things are well.
I have to share something before you do your pick, because if you're not familiar with Neil Hart and Elizabeth Bernard, who are dear friends of all of ours.
Well, I am, but...
Yeah, that's why you are very. Elizabeth sent a picture out. I almost made it our caption the picture. It's Will, and it's Neil, and it's Elizabeth, and the funniest faces I've ever seen in my life. And I will send it to you guys, but I couldn't stop laughing at this picture for like a half hour, because it's just so good to make fun of. But anyway, enough of that, Will. What is your pick, your prognostication, and your game ball?
Okay, I have Seattle winning this one 23-13.
Ooh.
So not trying to piggyback on Mark there. I didn't see what he was going to pick. Although I do have the same game ball recipient. I thought Tyler Lockett, because I think he's going to get a couple good returns. I think we're going to be grateful for that. My prognostication is I think we recover at least 2 fumbles from this game, because I think it's going to be kind of hard to lug that football around. And I think we're going to be able to steal a couple from Minnesota.
Very nice. Did you want to piggyback on Mark? I bet he has the tokens,
No, that's quite all right, thank you.
Okay.
Minnesota.
You betcha. Dustin.
Uh-huh.
Always a pleasure. Hi, Dustin.
Hey.
Dustin's had trouble texting recently, but we won't go into that.
Yeah.
Whatever, boo.
Yeah. Whatever, boo. He told us all that he told us all Luke Wilson was out, and I know it's supposed to read, Luke Wilson is out for this game, boo. But what came out was, Luke Wilson is out for this game, boo. So I said, thanks for the info, love.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
that didn't quite go right.
It's been that's been a lot of fun. Dustin, what is your score, your prognostication in your game ball?
I think it's going to be 21-9 Hawks. I wanted to go with Tyler Lockett too, because I think special teams is going to factor huge.
You can,
but I need to make a move on Will. He's got the high score.
He's going to make a move on Will.
This has been the most interesting prediction section ever.
You're not my type.
Just too short.
Oh my God! Look out! We got Will trying to climb on the back of Mark, and we got now Dustin trying to make a move on Will, baby.
Well,
that's
they got
rubbing off on us here, so to speak.
I'm not rubbing off on anyone. Let me just make that perfectly clear.
Oh dear!
You're not rubbing off. You're rubbing off on.
Oh my God! Now there's rubbing going on. All right. Well, I think I'll just let the music go a little bit here. Dustin, who's your game ball then? Since you want to make a move,
off my train of thought there.
What are you doing, Matt?
Matt, that's not
Is that your
pillows.
leg?
All right.
All right, I'll go with Doug Baldwin. I'll go with Doug Baldwin.
Oh,
right.
you will.
Doug Baldwin for my.
It's always the quiet ones.
prognostication.
Go and take one for the team, Dustin. Off you go.
My prognostication will be that Doug Baldwin scores the go-ahead touchdown. Once he scores, Minnesota will never catch up.
Baldwin with the game winner. That's so hot. No, I'm sorry. All right.
What are you wearing for the game tomorrow, Dustin?
Oh my
Not
God.
tomorrow.
Khakis.
It is for me.
No, you got to do the State Farm thing, though.
Khakis.
Khakis.
He sounds hideous. Well, he's Dustin, so there you go.
So. Wow.
Oh dear.
I wonder that guy who thinks we were juvenile is still listening.
You win, sir. We are.
You win.
Yeah.
Okay. Matt.
Yes.
Wow. How do we
Hello.
top this?
Well, I could.
I don't want to know. I
Well-
don't want to know.
Matt's gonna top it.
La 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 la.
Dennis over there trying to pop it off. I'm not worried about all that. We're not listening to that, dude.
Right, so I need points, don't I? This is what I need because I'm coming from behind. So
That doesn't count. You planned that one.
Yeah, that was the setup.
I always plan when I do that.
Now that counts. That's better.
Unless I'm in a club with Ben Roethlisberger, that's the only
Oh
time that
my
doesn't happen.
God.
Goodness.
Right. I
We
think
have-
the score's going to be. Look, can I talk about football now? Can I, please? Thank you.
Yeah, go for it.
Minnesota 16, because why not?
Why not?
And Seahawks 24.
Okay.
I've worked it out. It's all mathematically sorted. I'm going to give my ball. I'm going to give my game ball to Cooper Helfrich.
Of course
Because-
you are.
You can't
Of
stop
course.
Cooper Helfrich. You can only hope to contain him.
Oh, I'd contain him. And and I'm going to say that I'm going to say Marshawn Lynch gets double the amount of running yards of AP.
Lynch.
Double the amount. That
Yeah.
is. Oh, never mind. Yeah.
All right.
I was thinking, for some reason, I thought you said Russell Wilson, and I was like, Lynch. Okay, yeah, Lynch works.
All right.
Russell Wilson would have been bold.
Dear Lord.
Bold.
Now it's my turn.
Hold
Bring
your
us on
horses.
home,
everyone.
Moses.
Take
is
us
gonna be
to the
short.
promised land.
This is going to be short, sweet, and very musical. Here you go.
Where I love it.
Yeah, you're going to love this. Well, the weather outside may be frightful, but playing the Vikings appears to be delightful. So no matter what you think of the cold, Seahawks roll, Seahawks roll, Seahawks roll. Thank you very much.
Oi. Lovely.
Watch
Oh,
my
it's
game
bad.
ball, Russell Wilson. Show the NFL why he is having a season to remember. Watch the Seahawks defense hold Adrian Go Fetch Me a Switch Boy Peterson to under 70 yards rushing. That's my prognostication. And watch out, Carolina, because you're next.
Yeah.
The Seahawks advance in the playoffs by a score of Seattle Seahawks 34, Minnesota Vikings 17. What? 34 and 3 degrees? Yeah, you heard it here. 34 to 17.
So let it be written. So let it be done.
I ain't buying that. All right. Well, wow. Yeah, it looks like it's time to bring
And I'm
another wonderful and amazing 12-man Fan Jam show to a sad close. Matt needs a cigarette. We're so glad you decided to waste some time with us. It was, as usual, a show that raised the bar here at the Seahawks Positivity.
We don't know about that.
Woo. We certainly hope you laughed a little and maybe you learned a little something along the way. Oh,
Nothing you
Lord.
ever wanted to know.
Boy, oh boy, did we learn. Well,
Yeah.
we learned the NFL was scamming us all along. We learned the Eagles care. We learned Johnny Manziel has a hard time going incognito. Matt is sucking for luck. Moses' Italian accent sucks. Will wants to piggyback on Mark. Dustin sounds hideous. and Matt is coming from behind. So, on behalf of my partner, Crime Matt from Merry Old England, our news hound, Shadowhawk Will, our guest, Tom, and Dustin as the Beaver, this is your self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity saying enjoy the playoff game Sunday and go Hawks!
Go Hawks!
Go Hawks!
Go Hawks.
Yeah.
Oh, dear God.
Dude, you slipped up again.